I'm a big fan of earthbound science fiction. I'm not much into space aliens and civilizations far, far away. I prefer science fiction to be homegrown, of futures that are both great and terrible, because I think we can learn a lot from depictions of what might happen on here on Earth. I was thinking about overpopulation and endless pollution as a child in the 70s, with movies like Soylent Green. But one of my favorite sci-fi series has been the Terminator movies. A predicted future of machines outsmarting humans and starting a nuclear holocaust so they could have free reign over our world. Back in 1984, when the first movie came out, such predictions seemed like pure fantasy. Anybody who worked on a Commodore 64 knew that the end of the world wasn't likely when you couldn't even get your dot matrix printer to print on the right line. But in 25 years, the exponential rate at which computer technology has improved is shocking. Think about how much power our cell phone has compared to the first computer you may have used at work. With that in mind, I read an in-depth interview in Rolling Stone magazine with one of the greatest minds in the world, a man from my home county of Queens, New York, top inventor Ray Kurzweil. Kurzweil pretty much invented the modern music synthesizer and was composing music on computer as a teenager in the mid-1960s. He's in the Inventors Hall of Fame, has been called the rightful heir to Thomas Edison, and has received White House honors from 3 different presidents. He has predicted the technological future before and has been right, so when he makes his latest statements, you may laugh them off, but do so at your peril. Bill Gates calls this man, quote, the best person I know at predicting the future of artificial intelligence, end quote. Kurzweil believes that by 2045, machines and humans will merge, redefining life as we know it. He calls this moment singularity, referring to the term used in astrophysics that describes the point inside a black hole where laws of physics cease to apply. Well, he sees this happening here on Earth, with computers actually passing us in terms of knowledge and being able to back up our brain's memories like we now do with a hard drive. Little nanobots crawling inside our brains and recording all the information we've learned, memories we've stored, so that even if our cellular bodies die, our brains will live on in time. Kind of mental immortality. And we may be able to achieve real immortality by having these same molecular-sized computers, these nanobots, go through our blood vessels and zap diseases from our bloodstream, repairing any cellular damage and any iffy DNA, and reversing the aging process. And after they are done with us, scrubbing the pollution from our atmosphere. He even sees this nanotechnology going into inanimate objects like trees and rocks, and making these hosts into computational devices. To ensure that this 61-year-old man will be around to see this happen, he has devised a cocktail of about 150 vitamin supplements that he takes daily. He will be 97 in 2045, and he hopes that his vision of a new world will be able to stop his aging and even reverse it. He also hopes for grander things like bringing his father back to life. Well, not in a physical sense per se, but through nanobot technology retrieving bone matter, or maybe teeth from his grave, so they can use his DNA and then infusing this robo version of his father with as many memories and thoughts as he can possibly store. Kurzweil has kept 50 boxes worth of his father's music and thoughts and notes in the hopes one day of using them. His father clearly was his best friend growing up, and they had very substantial conversations about the nature of music and math and how intertwined they were. For those who reject his thinking as crank, the man to this day does get $30,000 a pop for one day of lecturing at places like MIT. In his mind, we are already on our way, when we rely on machines like calculators to computate math problems we can never solve on our own. Makes you wonder, what other mental tasks do we ask our computers to do that we are not equipped to handle on our own? Black books and video games have taught us how addictive we are to machines, how lost we are without them, and how much more do we have to go to see Kurzweil's view of the future. But his glee in seeking a world that will be part man, part machine also brings with it predictions of gloom. His vision of singularity would have these nanobots being able to recreate themselves at will. Certainly a wayward nanobot left unchecked could do great damage to us, in fact wipe us out. In the movie Terminator, Skynet was just such a system. Of course, in the movie the system used nuclear arms against us. But a nanobot might just destroy all our vegetation or rip a large hole in the atmosphere and let the sun kill us. Even Kurzweil calculates that a wayward nanobot could destroy a habitable Earth in only 2 months. But other leading scientists doubt it could happen, for the very mundane reason that even modern computers crash all the time and software is very iffy. And Kurzweil's ideas rely on not just the machine's independent thought, but consciousness. Personally, I think Kurzweil might be onto something, but all the more reason why we should discourage this kind of risk-taking. Would the world be better off without nuclear power? Some would say yes, but without it, Russia and the US would certainly have fought a Third World War with traditional weapons. And after 90 million lives were lost in World War II, how many more would have been lost in World War III? I have zero interest in living forever, but I am interested in having people's minds safe for future generations. So there might be some good that comes of this. And if we could talk to deceased loved ones, wouldn't that be kind of cool? Something to think about from the Predator.